Massive shout-out from this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Hall of Famer, I assume, in multiple broadcasting Hall of Fames, and certainly in the NFL. Super Bowl champion multiple time. Incredibly handsome.
Oh, yeah.
Incredibly, isn't he?
Yeah. He's absolutely jacked
Somehow.
as well.
So jacked. He's always in the gym. This guy. He's always in the gym. I see him. He's
Pond and water.
House and 8 beer.
That's right. Uh-huh.
And 8 beer. And then he's out there doing the whole. And then he shows up.
I've ever had.
Well, then your face shows you look so cool, and then look how jacked you look. Your right arm, the vascularity is literally from Ohio to Indianapolis. Hey, Troy, you're doing great. You're done great.
Troy.
Thank you. Hey, it's you mentioned the 8 beer. It's all because of the 8 beer. I mean, let's go.
Okay. Yeah, Lamar Jackson's about to own that shit. I heard, Troy. That's what I heard.
Hey, that'll be another. That'll be for another show.
I hope you guys get it sorted. I appreciate the fact that you have your business, by the way, because good tasting, light carb, light calorie beer is obviously something that everybody in this stage of existence, I think, is a fan of. So way to go, Troy. That's incredible stuff, especially from a football guy. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm real. Hey, I'm proud of it. We call it light beer made right. It's the healthiest, cleanest beer on the market. So. Pretty proud of it, and it's doing really well. We're in Texas and Oklahoma, so all good.
Oh, you're about to do the whole rock thing where you do this, and then you build it up, and then some Goliath comes in and says, we're kind of sick of you doing this whole song and dance, and then they offer you $1 trillion.
Yeah, here's $1 billion.
Hey, congratulations, Troy. You're going to look so cool, man. You're going to look so cool there. All right, let's talk about Monday Night Football. Speaking of looking cool, that new kickoff was obviously going to be a big part of the conversation of last night's game. They even gave a display of what would happen if it was windy. A 12th player will come onto the field. What is your first takeaway from it? What are you hearing from some of the coaches? And how big of an impact do you think it's going to have this year, Troy? Kind of an open runway.
Yeah, I think it is going to have an impact. I mean, there's no question that it's a play that it just didn't really exist in recent years with all the touchbacks. So I understand it, why the league, and I think it's been good for the kickers. I mean, as you know, Pat, I mean, for so long they've been talking about maybe even taking it out of the game. And then it's like, well, what happens to the kickers? So, this makes the play relevant. I think the fans will have an interest in it. Last night, it probably there wasn't as much to it as what I was anticipating, but yet in talking with the special teams coaches, they were going to keep it pretty close to the vest and just try to evaluate players as much as anything else. I do believe that these special teams coaches have some ideas on what they want to do once we get into the regular season. They're just not going to show it. So what we saw last night, my guess is what we see throughout the rest of the preseason is going to look a little different from what we're actually going to see week 1.
Troy, I know you're not a special teams guru, so the fact that you're giving this detailed of an answer, I appreciate the hell out of. I want to let you know that, legitimately, and thank you for the shout out last night. That was incredibly dope. But
and Pat, I'll tell you, I mean that because, one, you're a hell of an athlete. I mean, I follow you. I see what you do, and whether it's golf, basketball, you name it. So, and I think part of this deal for the kicker is he's got to be pretty adept at being able to put the ball where he wants to put it, and then also you've heard it as well that they've talked and the special teams coaches that we talked to leading up to this game. They mentioned that, yes, it is real that the kicker may not be the guy who kicks off because the kicker could have to be involved in the tackling. And, of course, you love doing that as well. So that's why I thought,
didn't love it.
Pat wishes these rules were in place back when he was playing.
Troy, I don't know how you handled getting hit. As quarterback, you guys take some massive shots. Anytime I was involved in any physical activity on that field, I was sore for 4 days. So I was that shit that you guys put up with is insane. And I think that's what people talk about. You got to get back into football shape. What that means is mentally, you have to get back to the point of being okay, just being incredibly sore from every single thing that happens out there. I think that's the real deal. Really
Yeah, I'm wondering. I'm wondering how sore Herb Street was after that hit that AJ put on him that I heard about yesterday. You know, I mean, how long did it take for him to get over that hit?
Yeah, AJ, did you check up with him as a 15-year-old kid? Did you follow up with Herb Street after you templed him?
Hey, Kirk stayed in the game. There was no concussion protocol in that scrimmage, so Kirk stayed in the game. I wasn't aware that he was hurt until later on, until years down the road.
I got a text from Herb Street yesterday going, "Come on, man, come on."
Yeah.
Come on, you're killing me. What a legend. Troy, I'm excited to see your kind of take on the kickoff as it goes, and obviously the rest of the season. AJ has a question for you.
Troy, how did you, as you got older in your career and you have a couple rings or whatever, how did you approach camp, like as a quarterback? Like, what should some of these veteran guys, like, you hear the old cliche, hey, let's work on, let's think of one thing we want to get better at every single day, all of that kind of talk. But what did you do, like, when you approached camp going in later in your career?
Yeah, kind of, quite honestly, AJ, same as what I did early in my career, for that matter. I don't know if I was weird in this sense, but I loved practice. I mean, I loved camp. I loved going out and trying to get better. It obviously was a lot different, as you know, than what it is now. I feel like today everybody's playing by the same rules, but I believe that, especially those teams that I was a part of that were really good, and I think you would probably agree that, the toughness and the grittiness of those teams was developed in camp. We were having training camp in Austin, Texas, 105 degrees and humidity and all of that. And I think there's a bonding that happens when you're going through all that. So it's much different, as we know. But we played with the same guys for so long. We didn't have as much turnover as what we're seeing in today's game. And I was fortunate to play with some really great players that approached it the same way. And so for me, late in my career, the way I went about trying to get better was no different than earlier in my career, just making the best of each day and trying to fine-tune everything that we were doing.
Well, you obviously figured it out. When you wear your gold jacket during the Hall of Fame game, that's sick.
Yeah,
that's a cool thing.
Yes.
Like, hey, welcome to my house here. Yeah. You guys are... I'm a quarterback here. Like that is what it feels like. Like it's an awesome thing to see, like the weekend celebrated, but also you be proud of the fact that you have that. Like I think
well,
that's like a cool thing.
I'm glad you bring it up, Pat. And I know you're partly kidding, but
I am not. I'm not partly.
Quite honestly, no one asked me to wear it. I did the Hall of Fame game a few years ago when Jimmy Johnson was going in, and I wore it then, but. It is a special weekend. It's a special group to be a part of. I'm honored that I was voted into the Hall of Fame and to be able to represent the Hall and wear it in last night's game for the Hall of Fame game. I don't get to wear it often. I wear it Hall of Fame weekend and for that broadcast. But yeah, I was thrilled to be able to do it.
No, man, I was not joking at all. I thought it was sweet. Like the Hall of Fame is I am a person that does not really, how do I say this? Acknowledge awards. Like, I don't think that, I assume I was screwed out of a few whenever I was a teenager. I thought I was at least. Yeah, and I just decided, okay, I hate all awards. I don't care about any of them. I don't care about titles. I don't care about shit. I don't want any of them. To hell with all of them. This is other is like such a cool one because every human I know that's a superstar, every human I know that has made it and is big and has won a lot of these awards, like the Hall of Fame is the one that's like, okay, this is cool because you're back on a team. You're like voted on by the people who really love the sport. You're the ones who are going to be representing the sport for generations to come whenever they wonder how the NFL got to where it is. Like, I think it's a beautiful thing. And like Freeney going in this weekend, I can't wait to get over there and celebrate him going in. Like it is, he deserves it, obviously, but it's a massive ordeal for everybody that gets in there. So I think it's incredibly sick.
Pat, I would tell you that I think you and I are in alignment on awards. And for that matter, I would say the same thing about stats. Throughout my career, anyone who looks at my stats would say, "Gosh, how did this guy even get on the field, and how did he get into the Hall of Fame?" But I felt that throughout my career, it was really about winning, and I was proud of that. I was proud that we won. I was proud that after 12 years in the NFL, I was able to win 3 Super Bowls, and in doing that, the way in which we played, I sacrificed some numbers, but when it was all said and done, I was given and bestowed the greatest individual honor that you can have, and that is to go into the Hall of Fame. So there's a lot of people,
good lighting,
as you both know, that talk about winning. It's all about winning, but as soon as they don't get their numbers, they're the first ones to bitch, and I don't have any tolerance for it. So I'm proud of the fact that I got in and yet sacrificed considerably from a statistical standpoint. But I don't mind doing it. I love that we won, but honored to have been then recognized by the Hall of Fame.
Hell, hey, talk your shit, Troy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because what are you supposed to do? Not hand the ball off to Emmitt Smith?
Yeah, come on.
Okay, so I'm supposed to be like pissed off that we're got Deuces back here doing his absolute thing? Because we talk about that with Tom Brady. I think that was the big thing with Tom Brady is like he was a team guy, whatever it takes to win. Whatever it takes to win. I will absolutely do it. Took less money far before everybody else started doing it, started doing salary cap, all that stuff. And then he just won. And they were like, well, he would take the same shit from Belichick that everybody else would take. It's like that's a trait. Not everybody has that. That is a bonus to have that type of humility.
No doubt.
Feels like Patrick Mahomes seemingly has it as well. Have you seen the quotes about him and the new quarterback contracts and how he said, I'd rather just win? They're potentially the first team to win 3 straight. Obviously, you understand how that world is and how hard that would potentially be. Feels like the next superstar, though, has the same qualities as all the greats of the past, right? Doesn't it feel like that with him?
Yeah, it does. And not because he's done it already. He's already, I feel that he's left some money on the table, knowing that he's going to have better players around him as a result of that. And obviously it's worked for them, and they do a good job of continuing to restock the shelves and bring in good players. And of course, Andy Reid, it's what they have going in Kansas City is special. And when you have a quarterback who's obviously as talented as he is, but yet as unselfish as he is, then it gives yourself a chance. And, another guy that probably doesn't get talked about in that same light because he hasn't had the same success in the postseason is a guy who I'm very fond of right here in Dallas, and that's Dak Prescott. What I respect so much about Dak, one is he's a great leader. He's a great person, but he's an old school guy in that he doesn't care about anything but winning. And it frustrates him beyond imagination that they haven't had more success in the postseason. And it's the only thing that's keeping him from really being mentioned with Pat Mahomes and some of the other greats.
I would love to see, how Dak responds to everything that is said about him. If he is only determined and driven by winning whenever they lose, because it gets so loud. So loud. And it's always like, Stephen A. obviously and the Dallas Cowboys fans have the relation that he has, and he's had, the highest rated television show in sports for like the last 11 years. One of his big angles, one of his actual, one of his things is like, Dak's going to blow it. Dak's going to blow it. So Dak works his ass off, just driven by winning only. And all he hears all year is he's going. And then for it not to work out again and again, what if he breaks through, huh? What if Dak Prescott breaks through? Feels like it's a lame duck year down there, though, doesn't it? Hey,
well, it does.
Doesn't it?
If he breaks through this year, I mean, I do believe he's going to be the first quarterback to $60 million. And
from Jerry or somewhere else?
Well, that's the question. And the longer this goes, the more I think he will be playing somewhere else. I just if it continues to drag on and he plays great, and then the Cowboys come in late to say, hey, now we want to pay you. I don't know. I don't know where his head will be at that point. But so he. When you look at the numbers, if you didn't have the names and you just looked at stats, and again, I go back to I don't care about stats. I just want to see wins. But wins included, you would put Dak Prescott's numbers over the last couple of years along with Patrick Mahomes's. But it's what's happened in the postseason that has separated those two. And so that's where the whole organization has to be better. This isn't just this isn't just on Dak Prescott. This goes back for the last 25, 30 years that the Cowboys just have failed to play their best football when the games have mattered most in January.
This past year, was the one, too. You know, I was just watching all those highlights, and I was reliving how we felt about the Cowboys last year because they're going to be on primetime.
Yep.
They're going to be talked about. You're going to see them. Last year, there was an entire train that I was on that was like, hey, it's different in Dallas this year.
I was on it.
They had a lot of energy.
I was on it. I agree, Pat. They've had other teams in other years that were good, and I thought they were capable, but last year it just felt different. And quite honestly, it felt different in training camp. And so they then got into the regular season, and it just felt that it had the makings of a championship team. The locker room was tight. They all seemed to be on the same page. All the things, as you know, that are required to win it all. And they were positioned perfectly after the demise of the Eagles over the second half of the season to be put in the position that they were to potentially have 2 home games and then go to, probably San Francisco for the championship game, which is where it would have been. And then they don't get out of the first round. Jordan Love obviously does what he does.
Yeah.
That was a huge disappointment. And so I think it's hard to come back year after year. I think that's going to be the challenge for the 49ers. They keep knocking at the door, and how many times can you keep getting there and getting to the level that you have to get to? And then with the offseason, the way that it has gone for Dallas, there just seems to be a lot of negativity about what they did or didn't do this offseason. And it'll be interesting to see what this season looks like for them.
And then empty bleachers at training camp, Troy. And obviously, I know it's in California and the Chargers. Justin Herbert.
Uh-oh.
Is everything? Yeah, that one's plantar, right? Plantar. That's a real one. Plantar fascia. Yeah. That's something in the foot. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know it holds people out. It's a broken something under something. That one's a real one. And I know, like in LA, the Chargers were a big time story. And when Schefter announces this, I think we're all bummed out because we all are eagerly awaiting Jim Harbaugh's return to the NFL sideline, and we're all pumped out how it would go. And now his guy, the guy over there, is seemingly going to be down for a bit. Herbert, Godspeed, buddy.
Yep. Good luck, Herbert.
Godspeed in that entire thing. So I know the training camp is in LA with the Chargers are a story and the Rams are a story, and it's out in California, but like nobody there. That's pretty indicative of like the ride that maybe last year this is it, and then people being like, Has
it ever been like this? Has it ever been like this in Oxnard, Troy? Like I don't remember ever seeing stands this empty.
Ever for the Cowboys anywhere.
Me either.
I'll be honest with you guys. I've not kept up with this one. This is the first I've heard about that. It surprises me, quite honestly.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if there's a reason for that or if they just simply didn't come. But that is
maybe traffic, Troy.
Yeah.
Maybe traffic.
Traffic.
That's shocking, quite honestly, to me. And but I will say that if they win, they'll be back on that wagon for sure.
Yeah. Former Cowboy, Pac-Man Jones.
I've never seen Oxnard empty like that. But back to y'all conversation, I think Dan Quinn deserves some of this blame for Dallas playing like kind of bad at the end of the year. And I do think with Mike Zimmer in there, the defense will be 10 times better.
You played with Zimmer where at Cincy?
Cincy, yeah.
Everybody loves Zimmer, right? The place from except for offensive players on a team in which he's the head coach. Right?
Oh yeah, everything's gonna be done one way, the way he wants you to do it. Anything else, like he's not going for it. You're gonna play fast. You're gonna play a lot smarter, but like he's adamant about doing it the way he wanted to be done.
Excited to see Micah and everybody. That defense obviously incredibly talented, but you got contract conversations all over that roster, including at the head coach. Head coach is on his last year of his contract as well. Let's move to another contract that didn't happen anywhere in the NFL. Ty has a question for you, Troy.
Yeah, Troy. Obviously, this was a huge talking point, right as the season ended, all throughout the offseason. I feel like it's kind of hit the back burner a little bit, but it'll kind of come back to the forefront once the actual season starts. Are you surprised that Bill Belichick is not coaching a team this year? And do you think certain general manager or owners, I guess, will be more apt to kind of pull the trigger and fire a guy sooner because Bill Belichick is still available and presumably looking for a job?
I'm totally surprised that there were that many jobs that were open, and Bill Belichick didn't land any of them. That is surprising to me, and I don't know that it's going to be easy for him to get a job. Quite honestly, I mean, if he didn't get one this cycle, why would someone think that it's going to be easier the next cycle?
Troy,
I don't know.
Whoa, that's not what I heard. I heard legitimately, you're the first person that I think has ever said that. I think that I've heard because
I'm hoping he coaches. I'm a big fan of Bill Belichick's, but
we all are.
I don't know, but he didn't get one this year. So I don't know why would you think that he's automatically going? You know, I think everyone thought he would have gotten one of those jobs this year. The fact that he didn't, why would you think then he's automatically going to get one next year? I don't know. I think part of the perception is real. I mean, clearly Bill Belichick was the guy in charge in New England, and I think there are a lot of owners that don't want to give up that kind of control or. Found that whatever his demeanor is or whatever Bob Kraft has said about, his dealings with Coach Belichick and how that might influence an owner or general manager as to how they do things. I don't know. I just don't think it's a slam dunk. But I hope he gets a job, and I believe that he will, but I hope that he does because I want to – it's hard – I'm a huge Vince Lombardi fan. I read all kinds of stuff about Vince Lombardi, and there's some other really outstanding coaches, of course, over the history of our game. But it's hard to imagine anyone thinking that Bill Belichick's not the greatest of all time, but yet he has to go do it. And right now, that's Don Shula.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, I love what you just ended with there. And as you matriculated through your answer there, literally all I heard was, oh, that's a lot of valid points there. Like, why didn't he get the Atlanta Falcons job? Well, there was a lot of smoke that was being leaked. Well, maybe there was some people that didn't want to lose their jobs if Bill came in that were in different departments than just in the football coaching side of the entire thing.
Right.
And those were quickly, no, that's not true. That's not true. And then it came out things that the Kraft family is everything that you were saying that we all thought made sense. There was always a follow-up that isn't in there. But we're dealing with humans here. These are humans making these decisions. And Bill Belichick brings a presence wherever he is. We got to see a draft night.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to see a draft night, Troy. It was awesome. Him walking through every room. We went to a restaurant. He turns the corner. Every human in there. Doesn't matter how old they are. Doesn't matter where. Is that a Bill Belichick in a wild? It's like they're seeing
Holy
Bigfoot
shit.
walk by. It literally is like that. So I assume whenever he walks into some of these meetings and there's some people in control of an NFL team in certain positions, they know this Bigfoot will take my job if he wants to.
Yeah.
And it's he needs.
Yeah, and that's why I think that. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Bill Belichick's. I personally like his style. Jimmy Johnson was the same way. I like being coached like that. And if it's just about can Bill Belichick help an organization win, he should have had his pick of places to go last year. But as you just said, Pat, there's a lot of people that maybe are somewhat insecure and don't want to have to deal with some of what he brings or give up some of what they want to control. And I think, as you know, egos are big in this business, and egos get in the way, and they want the credit. And so, will Bill help a team win? Absolutely, he will. And it just comes down to how much does an organization really want to win. Because there's not a better head coach in the history of our game than Bill Belichick.
Yeah. He can relate to the younger generation, they're saying.
Yes, he can.
On the internet. They're saying he can relate to the younger generation on the internet. They're certainly saying that. Living his best life. We can't wait to share Mondays with him, Troy. So we're going to be he's going to be joining us every single Monday. And from what I've been told from the people that are closest to him, they're wait until he kind of tells you what's going to happen in the Monday Night Football game. When he says, this is probably how this game is going to go. Allegedly, that is That is the thing of his. Like that's why he's been so good for so long. He's able to just project exactly what's going to happen. And it's like, if we get a chance to experience, I think that's why I like him doing all this shit that he's doing. He just announced his own show. I assume that's going to be a clip show where he's going to put out stuff, or a podcast or whatever it is. He's doing Inside the NFL. He's doing our show. It's like, I'm very thankful that he's deciding to like let it, like, this is a football brain that we've never heard from, really.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, you get a look behind the curtain a little bit, and your viewers obviously will as well. And I will say that, you know, we've had a lot of New England games over the years, and I've talked with Bill, and he will say, here's what I think the game will come down to. And invariably, that's what it comes down to. I remember there was a game they were playing, the Cowboys, in Foxborough, and he said the weather was not going to be good. It was going to be really cold. It was going to be icy. He said the kicking game is going to determine this game, and we're going to make them handle the football. And that's exactly what he did. And the Cowboys didn't handle the ball very well, and it was a low-scoring game. Tom was still playing for him, and the Patriots. It was an important game for both teams. The Patriots won in a low-scoring, slugfest because of the conditions. But it came down to exactly what Coach Belichick said that it would. And so, yeah, he's going to have amazing insight. It's going to be fantastic for your show.
Hey, you guys crush in the booth. You know that, you and Joe. You guys are so good. First game last night.
Thank you.
Yeah, obviously you've been doing it for however many years you've seemingly been alive post-football. But,
yeah,
you guys are good. You just picked up right where you left off, it seems like.
Yeah, it felt good. It did. That game, it's... you're talking about a lot of things that don't really matter, or
what
that
are you
are
saying,
happening
Troy?
out on the field.
What are you saying?
Huh?
What are you talking about? What do you mean?
I don't know, but the cancellation, with the weather and all, not a bad idea.
Oh, Troy, I was loving it. The interviews. You and Joe are awesome. We appreciate you. We can't wait to listen to you all season on Monday nights. We appreciate it.